Okay, folks, what we're going to talk about in this deliverable, this is the third part in the How to Make a Video series. We're going to talk about how to make a good deliverable video in terms of the content and what's expected. So what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to look at the deliverable text to find out exactly what we asked for. But in general, what we're looking for is something along these lines where you're going to have a title. Should be a title slide which shows your team name and a little bit of information about what the video does. Then you should actually run through a demonstration itself, so that is you doing a live demo with commentary, and you really need to show what does the deliverable do and how does one actually use it. So if you've got some special way to start your code, or there's a button or some key sequence, make sure you explain that so when we actually go to grade it, we can understand it and enjoy it. Then you're going to want to spend a little bit of time talking about the design, talk about any modeling that you've done. So if you want to introduce a slide or something that would show a functional flow diagram or an influence chart or something like that, you could pop that in there. And then bring up any highlight points, anything that you really want to showcase as being something you're proud of. Pay attention to any code reuse or interfacing. So if you have a modular code that you're using and you've invoked that, go ahead and show us what you used and how you used it. That's really interesting. And then spend a little bit of time talking about strengths and weaknesses, any points of elegance, things that maybe you went above and beyond, did some research on, and then any errors or bugs. So if you've got a known bug, just put that up front and explain what's going on. And then kind of always tied into bugs, if you had more time, is you want to talk about what you would do if you had more time. How would you improve it? Would you address the bugs? Do maybe some more testing or different interface? And then, of course, have some documentation. Talk about your documentation and have a documentation slide. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run through a quick demo of how that would look if I was going to go ahead and do it. So the first thing we're going to do in this video is just demonstrate the application. So you can see down here I've got a couple of different worksheets. Control is the control panel. The data is really the heart of the application. There's a data worksheet here, which you were given to analyze. It's got some ID information in it. And what we want to do is we want to look through this ID and be able to pull out some of the statistics about the switch type. And also, we want to look at the outcome. And we want to sort that by multinational division so we can figure out kind of where the hot battle spaces are. So the way you do that is you go to the control panel, take myself out of design mode here, make sure I'm in live mode, and I'm going to hit outcomes by multinational division. Before I do that, you'll notice that my output sheet is entirely blank. And now when I hit output, outcomes by NMD, it got this table sort of out of thin air for outcomes. So this is multinational division. I got debt with casualties, detonation, without casualties found, and cleared other. So going back to controls, I can run the same sort of analysis for switch type, and I've got my switch type table here: command wire, hoax, mine, etc. So that's pretty much the demo and how you use it. Talk a little bit about the design. At the heart of this is a kind of a hidden pivot table that does all the hard work. So we have some Visual Basic code that gets invoked with the buttons. The Visual Basic code creates a pivot table and configures it accordingly. And then the last thing it does is it selects it, and then it pastes special into the output. That's a very important step because it pastes special as text. If you don't do that and you link it to the pivot table, then when the pivot table changes for switch type, all this will change up here. So we did a paste special, and then I have another function that basically reconfigures a pivot table for that. I've got two buttons. The buttons here, the first one is for the outcomes, and the make pivot table 2 is for the switch type. You can see those here. Borrowed a little bit of code from Zyrtec. I've got it documented there. You can see how I kind of overloaded it, put in my function sheets here, and then all I do down here is instead of configuring it for up here I do it by outcome, and down here I do it by switch type, and that's all there is to it. Suggested are strengths and weaknesses. I didn't do a really good job testing it. I think it's a pretty simple design. One thing that you could kind of improve would be to make this one function and maybe pass some sort of parameter to it so it switches between, there's a lot of code duplication here, which is sort of extra that I don't need. I could have one function and maybe have a switch that makes it either one of the outcome or the other one. So that's how I would improve it, and that's really my only weakness. Okay, folks, so that pretty much summarizes the kind of what a decent video is going to look like. I kept it under 3 minutes, which kind of goes into my points here for a successful tip. So keep your video short, 3 minutes. is ideal. 5 minutes is max. Check your actual deliverable specification because we'll specify exactly what your max is, but no longer than 3 to 5. Write and read a script out when you do a video. It sounds hokey, but it's going to make for a much more coherent and cogent video. And if you make a blooper, just keep rolling. You don't have to stop and start again. If you can easily edit it out. So with expression, it's really easy to go in and make a cut and delete and make it sound good. And because it's just for submission, this isn't production level stuff. So don't waste time doing it again and again and again. And remember, if all else fails and you can't get any of this video stuff to work, just use your iPhone or your Android to shoot a picture of your screen. In fact, that's what I'm doing on this segment here. A couple things to watch on that: ensure you have good lighting. Ensure you have the highest resolution set on your camera, and then use a tripod or a bipod so it's nice and steady. So you can see here what I've done in this one is I made a little tripod out of a paper cup. So you can go to Grant Hall or whatever, get yourself a paper cup, and then just put your camera in there, and it's pretty decent. So that takes care of sort of what a video looks like and what the content should be. And we'll talk to you later.